share some things we've done here at High Tech High and also abroad in Africa this summer. The illicit trade of wildlife in Africa has caused a loss of biodiversity. A lot of these animals are connected with many plants, and they spread seeds and have critical roles in the ecology in Africa. Also, some of the nastiest pathogens have been introduced through the consumption of wildlife in Africa. Many of these species that are traded around the world in this state are relatively easy to identify in the form of furs or skins. However, much of it is traded as a form of jerky. And so I had the very good fortune to meet Oliver Ryder from CRESS, the Study of Endangered Species at the Wild Animal Park. And one thing that we talked about is setting up this course using simulated bushmeat, using ostrich, turkey, and beef jerky. And students ran through all of these skills in molecular biology in my classroom up to the very last point to sequence the DNA. And from that, we were able to do the bioinformatics to take these sequences of ostrich, turkey, and beef jerky and figure out what they were. And these 11th graders actually discovered a way to do it. And so we went to Africa, and can you please raise your hand if this has ever happened to you on a field trip? So heading out of Arusha in Tanzania, our safari truck was driven off the road at about 40 miles an hour, and we were thrown onto the ground. We all survived. It was a total miracle. We had some minor wounds. All of our gear remained intact. We almost had a mob scene after several other crashes, which is what they're looking at right now, followed us. We're all okay. And one thing that occurred through this experience, it showed the commitment in these students. There was discussion with one parent on the trip. There were two parents with me about flying out that night, taking off. There was some shock in these students, experienced such trauma, but everyone was okay. We talked about the healing we can do together, the mission, the objective, the awareness. And so we stayed together, and it showed this incredible drive in these students and what they believed in through this whole project. We also encountered other dangers. One thing in terms of the bullfighting past, maybe I talk with my students, is looking good in the face of danger, as these students are but we had some wonderful animal encounters to show the world in this documentary that we're making for the project what wildlife there is and what we have left to preserve. This rare oryx, we're able to see a whole herd of them. We saw certain animals in great abundance. And it made us feel good about what's left in Africa. And then we also saw signs of loneliness and what's left of some of the rarest creatures, and that this work that they're doing can go to save these creatures and maybe bring some of their populations back. The culminating part of this trip was to visit Mwika College of African Wildlife Management, and this was an incredible place. It was like visiting a natural history museum where they were teaching graduate students about wildlife management. And we had the chance to have a mini conference with a series of graduate students who are working on bushmeat crises from 4 countries, from Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. It's a very small component in the classroom. There are many stories that come up about the politics, the other ways to gain food source, but this is one component, and the students are truly making a difference. That's it. Thank you.
For more information, visit hightechhigh.org.